So 2014 I converted to Islam. My people ask me quite often why, a lot of Muslims and non-Muslims ask me why I became Muslim, and normally I have to kick the story off way before I actually converted. So when I was younger, I used to go to church with the school. I used to go to Christian church. When I prayed to God, then I understood my personal experiences that I was praying to God, the God of Jesus. And then when I started hearing Christians calling Jesus God himself, and when they told me he's the Son of God, these feelings didn't really sit at home with me. I can understand it, and I loved all the messengers of in Christianity, Moses and Abraham, Noah, and I believe that these were prophets and messengers to mankind to teach us of the correct way of living, the correct path, the correct modality of worshipping God. And I believe that Jesus did the same thing. So years passed by and I'm living, the normal life of a Western white guy. I went to university, had some crazy times, and I met a Kung Fu master. And this Kung Fu master was also a convert to Islam, has a half Arabic, half Austrian background. And he never explicitly told me about Islam, but I got to observe his way of life. And I did a 4-year integrated master's degree in osteopathy. And during that time, I learned a great deal about the human body. And the human body, for me, was another sign. Its complexity, how everything works in a unity. And with our getting to deal with that existential crisis I had of how fascinating it was to be an actual conscious human being. And more and more I was making choices that were having an impact on me. I didn't feel great, so I was like, I've got to start changing things. How can I change my life for the better? I'll start implementing some of the ideas from my Kung Fu master and feeling the effects of them. So I took things really simple. I stopped eating pork, and I stopped drinking alcohol, and what else I do? Probably spent a bit more time contemplating about the universe, and in the end it only got to a certain point. I was going to like a Buddhist school, and I always found myself coming up against conflicting ideas and conflicting evidence. So my inner compass was showing me that I need to find something authentic. So Islam kept coming up, and Islam was simple, and that's what I fell in love about Islam. The definition of God goes like this: Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say that God is one. Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Allahu samad. Allah is eternal. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He's not born and he doesn't give birth. Wa lam yakulhu kufuwan ahad. And he's not equal or comparable to anything that exists. So when I think about God and I contemplate God, it's beyond anything I can conceive and imagine, but I have at least some way that my mind can be directed to contemplate God through the Quran. And that's what the Quran is. That's its purpose. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was living until he was, I think, 40 years old, and he started getting these revelations, and it tied in with Christian prophecy, and prophecy from the Torah. People were expecting a prophet to come. So, like all the other messengers, Jesus, Noah, Moses, Abraham, he comes up against the conflicts of people that disbelieve, that don't believe in God, or believe that God is an idol, and it completely demolishes that and takes residence with its authenticity. There's only been one Quran, and there only ever will be one Quran. This is and it calls on mankind to produce something similar, and we can't. It's too complex, and that's what I love. I see the complexity and the sophisticated nature of the human body. why would there not be a message that is complex and sophisticated? Paradoxically simple and complex at the same time. Islam is that you can go into it deep. You know, I've been Muslim 10 years now. I'm developing my salah, I'm developing my relationships, I'm developing my attitude, my behavior for the benefit of my soul in terms of relationship to God. So it's about God consciousness. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, he came with prescribing us salah, which is the prayer, and we have 5 a day, and they're like anchor points. So you have a morning prayer, which is called Fajr, you've got Zuhr, like midday prayer, Asr prayer, Maghrib, which is just after the sunset, and you've got after the sunsets, we've got a prayer called Isha. And these keep you on a link around the day and keep your connection back with God. When it was, I sometimes go into speak with Christians, and they also talk about how Jesus died for our sins, but I don't think he did. I think he lived a life of sacrifice like all the messengers and prophets did, and he gave an example. And if you follow the way of Jesus, then you're a servant of God's. And the same thing applies to Muhammad, peace be upon him, and peace and blessings upon all the messengers. It really is simple. Muslims believe in Jesus. He's called Isa in the Quran. It's just a Semitic origin name. And the same thing, he was born of a virgin mother, Maryam, which is in the largest chapter in the Quran. And I remember some of the Arabic in the Quran that describes the first words of Jesus, and it goes like this. قالوا إني عبد الله أتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. قالوا إني عبد الله أتاني. قالوا say that إني عبد الله, I am a slave of God. Atani al-kitab wa ja'alni nabiyya, and he has given me a book and made me a messenger. And the same feeling applies in the Quran through regarding all the messengers and prophets. So to break it down, I believe in God. I believe in the oneness of God. I don't think there's conflicting gods. You know, it doesn't make sense. I like the story of Abraham, where his father's generation were worshipping idols, and he broke all the idols apart from one. And when they said, "Oh, this is a crazy thing that's happened, what happened here?" And he said, "Why don't you consult your chief idol?" And we are doing this in this society. We are idolizing so many people, and they're all false. You know, everything will break away and deteriorate, and our attachment to those things is false. You know, our attachment should be to God, the originator, the eternal, the fashioner of forms, the source of light, the source of peace, the expander, the contractor, the subtle, the most merciful, the all hearing, the all seeing, all knowing. It's all those attributes of God are there for us to contemplate on in a daily, even micro moments and macro moments, where it's there designed for us to contemplate. That's what Islam is a method of contemplation, of connection with God. It corrects the discord and the discrepancies with the Christian texts, which lack a certain element of authenticity. I love Christians, and I know that Christians love us because we're standing up and we're being strong on our principles. We are unwavering, and we are clear and concise about our purpose. We know where we came from, we know what we're doing, and we know where we're going. So with those three things, where do we come from, what we're doing, where we're going, Revelations and prophets is a part of answering those questions. It reminds us of where we come from, it reminds us of what we're doing, and it reminds us of the future. And Muslims believe in heaven, we believe in hell. It's called Jannah, it's the gardens, and what I love about the gardens is it appeals to our senses, to our sense of smell, our sense of touch, our vision, our hearing, our imagination. It's somewhere where we can aim to be for eternal bliss. And this is just a stage of a test you get to Judgment Day, and you're accountable for all your deeds. So there is a great element of responsibility for the individual nature and the society as a whole. The animals, the birds, the people you meet, the elderly, the orphans, we're all responsible for that with our souls. So when we present ourselves on the day of judgment, we at least have had a chance to have a good conduct. Without that, without thinking about God and without contemplation, we just accumulate a load of stuff. And then on the judgment day, you'll be standing in front of God like, you know, and then he'll say, did not a messenger come to you? And we'll say, yes, they did, but we chose not to listen. You know, and we've got all this stuff that we didn't do. We didn't pay attention to you. You know, send us back and we'll do it again. We're sorry. But, you know, chances up. So, yeah, I became Muslim in 2014. I practice osteopathy. I'm treating people. I'm listening to their trials and tribulations. I'm, you know, reflecting on how that has an impact on myself and my family, and what I really want to do. And I have a great deal of knowledge when it comes to medicine and the human body, with dynamic movements. I'm a big fan of martial arts, especially Wing Chun. I love to watch good fighters with the sophisticated level of knowledge that's not brutish and brute force. I don't like things like Krav Maga. I find them too unrefined. I like a certain level of sophistication. And with osteopathy, I'm practicing every day my principles of healing. You know, the body's one unit, increased blood flow and drainage to the area, harmonizing the structure and function of the body. So this is sort of a holistic lifestyle now. I'm a Muslim. I've started really just trying to be present with people. It's changed my lifestyle dramatically. I'm a lot more responsible and attentive. And I know that I'm not perfect, but at least like the Tai Chi people, I'm seeking for perfection, knowing that I'm never going to attain it. And yeah. And I'm inspired constantly, like, by the stories of the prophets and messengers. You could ask me anything about them, you know, from Job to King Solomon to Jesus to Adam, and also the sort of this temporary battle we've got going on with the devil, who's called Iblis in Islam. He's a shaitan because he's arrogant. He thinks he's better than mankind because he's made from fire. And yeah, it's just an amazing experience to reflect on all this knowledge of life, all these dynamic paths we can take. You know, I often find myself on YouTube following lots of cool people. I listen to discussions in Hyde Park on Speaker's Corner. I sometimes get frustrated that people don't listen to each other, and yeah, so here I am, Muslim, in the Garden of England in Kent, and I will be just updating videos. I really want to talk to cool people. I'd love to do some podcasts at some point, and my intention is to reach out to people and share my story, really. So I've got a few patients now, so I'm going to sign off, and I'll hopefully speak to you all soon.